All right, let's talk spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. So, if you've not seen it, you best be getting out of here. Unless you want to be spoiled, unless you want to know what the cameos for this movie are. And I'm pretty much going to talk about mostly the cameos for this movie. And they weren't even really cameos, they were mostly just characters for the movie because they actually were useful in the movie. So yeah, they weren't just a cameo. They weren't just cameos. Maybe a couple were, but yeah, for the most part, they weren't just cameos. So yeah, it's pretty much what everybody will be talking about for this movie. And for the story of the movie, the story was not really that strong, I would say. I would say of the three movies, this is probably the weakest story of the three movies. Now I had fun with it. I liked the movie, but I can understand critics not liking this movie. And there's not a lot of critics that are disliking the movie, but there's some of them. It's got an 80% of Rotten Tomatoes, so yeah, there's some of them saying that it's terrible. So yeah, I can kind of understand. But yeah, I dug this movie. But I think one person who probably doesn't like the movie, if when they get down to seeing it, is James Mangold, because man, the intro with this movie with Deadpool going in and digging up the corpse, the skeleton of Wolverine from Logan, I thought that was funny. And Logan is a great movie. It's definitely one of the top superhero movies there is, and it was gonna be the movie that Hugh Jackman was probably gonna retire from playing Wolverine, but stuff happened in his personal life, and also Marvel got the rights to the X-Men back, so he was able to be in the MCU now. So that's probably why he came back. But with this intro was great with him digging up the corpse, and he's saying, "Yeah, I don't mean to desecrate, but I'm about to desecrate Logan right here." And then him taking out all those TVA soldiers with Bye 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 in sync playing. I thought it was great. It was a great intro. And it definitely was in the vein of the first two Deadpool movies. So yeah, I thought it was great. It was a great intro. But yeah, I think if you're a big fan of Logan, maybe it could bother you. I mean, I feel like most people, like anyone who's a comic book fan or even a movie fan in general is probably a big fan of Logan because it is that great. But with me, yeah, I dug it. It's funny. But yeah, James Mangold probably not gonna like it that much. And then to the Wolverine variants montage, which I also thought was really good. Then you got the comic accurate Wolverine, who's really short. And I feel like they even made him even shorter than what he is in the comics. I'm not like too familiar with the comics, but I'm just going by X-Men 97, and I feel like with X-Men 97 he wasn't that short, but I feel like they wanted to make it very comedic, and they have Hugh Jackman on like a little guy's head or something like that. So yeah, it's very it's similar to Steve Rogers from early on in Captain America: The First Avenger. So yeah, I thought that was funny, and seeing like the brown suit Wolverine come in fighting the Hulk, which I thought was cool. I kind of wished we saw more of Hulk because they only really gave you like a small glimpse of him, so I wanted to see kind of more of him in that scene. But I mean, it was all right. You didn't need to see really that much of Hulk. And then there's a couple more variants, which I'm not really familiar with. One's like a very airy that looks like almost like a biker Wolverine. And then one of the ones that everybody's gonna be talking about, the Henry Cavill Wolverine. This is the problem with me being on social media a lot, is that I wasn't really surprised by some of these cameos in the movie. I feel like there was only two that I was kind of surprised at, and with the Henry Cavill one, I already heard a rumor that he actually filmed a cameo for Wolverine in this. So it's like Deadpool called him a Cavalrine, and he's saying, "Oh, they treat you like terrible over at DC." So yeah, they welcome me here at the MCU now. So yeah, it'd be cool if he got a better role than like a variant Wolverine, which I guess he can very well get in the future. But yeah, it was cool to see him here. And once they showed him, they only really showed glimpses of him at first, and then they cut away. But I already knew it. This is gonna be Henry Cavill because I already heard the rumor that he was gonna be in it. So yeah, Henry Cavill as a Wolverine, and it fits very well if they were gonna use him as a Wolverine, which they probably won't for the MCU. Because I think he is 40, right? He's close to 40. So I think they probably want to go with someone younger, but he would definitely fit. He would definitely fit as a Wolverine. And then Chris Evans showing up right after they get pruned into the void. And yeah, this one was kind of a surprise to me because I didn't really expect Chris Evans to show up, at least right now. And once they showed him, I kind of knew he was going to be Johnny Storm because this was definitely going to be the 20th Century Fox Marvel characters. So yeah, I knew he was going to be Johnny Storm when he had that piece of garment on. But it was funny that like that Deadpool thought he was going to be Captain America. And I should have known that Chris Evans was probably going to appear because they show on the screens in the TVA Captain America, and Deadpool's like saluting it to it. So I should have known. And then once Deadpool finds out he's not Captain America, he has a different tone with them. He's just picking fights with them. And when they brought Pyro in too, I thought that actually worked well because like Johnny Storm was like flame on, but he couldn't match Pyro because Pyro can control flames. So yeah, I thought that was cool the way they worked Pyro in here, because Pyro was more like a henchman in this. And man, the Chris Evans death scene in the movie was pretty wild, and I knew at that moment he was gonna die, but the way like Cassandra Nova like killed him by just tearing apart his skin, and he's just like a flesh mold, and he just like falls like down together. So yeah, it was a very, very graphic right there. So yeah, I thought that was crazy, and it's funny that Deadpool pretty much got him killed. And then going to the cameos who Deadpool and Wolverine team up with in the movie, and that is Elektra, Blade, Gambit, and X-23. And man, Elektra, I knew she was going to be in it because there was an article that said Jennifer Garner was going to return in this movie as Elektra, so I already knew she was going to be in it. It said Ben Affleck, or I thought I heard Ben Affleck was going to be in it, returning as Daredevil, but I guess not. And they even mentioned that Daredevil got killed. So yeah, that's kind of confirming that didn't happen. But I'm pretty sure they probably called Ben Affleck, but he's probably done. He's probably saying he's done with the comic book movies here after playing Batman in The Flash. So yeah, that's probably the last time he wanted to play a comic book role. So yeah, but it was good to see Elektra, Jennifer Garner in here, and then Wesley Snipes as Blade. I was kind of 50-50 on him because you knew the history with him and Ryan Reynolds not really getting along on like the set of Blade 3. But I guess they got him, and Wesley Snipes has been wanting to come back to play Blade. So that's probably how they got him, and they probably squashed that beef they had with each other, and I think they even mentioned it in the movie. And then Wesley Snipes had that line later that he would be the only Blade, and Deadpool's looking at the screen like, you sure about that? But with what's happening with the latest Blade, with Mahershala Ali, I can never say that right, but with what's happening with that one knocking off the ground, that might end up being true, what Wesley Snipes said. But yeah, it was good to see Wesley Snipes in there, and Channing Tatum finally playing Gambit, because he was going to play him in the standalone movie with 20th Century Fox. But yeah, coming in here, yeah, he was wearing a comic accurate costume, and I was kind of surprised by that, because I thought they would kind of maybe, like, I don't know, make it a little bit more like realistic. You know how they change certain like suits in the movies. But yeah, that was definitely comic accurate, I think. At least it was accurate to X-Men 97. And he had the accent too. He had a really good accent as Gavin. He had that Cajun accent. At first I was wondering if someone was dubbing the voice, but then I read later that Channing Tatum actually was trying to perfect the voice when he was going to play Gambit at 20th Century Fox. So yeah, I guess it's his real voice. So yeah, he did a pretty good job with that. And like Deadpool's even making fun of it in the movie, which I thought was cool. And it was very meta, of course, because a lot of the jokes are meta. So yeah, but yeah, Channing Tatum finally showing up as Gambit. And I knew he was going to show up because I kind of figured, and there had also been rumors that he was on set and he was going to play Gambit in this movie. So yeah, it was no surprise seeing him, but it was cool seeing him. And X-23, Daphne Keane coming in. Everyone pretty much knew about this because they showed her in the last trailer last week. So yeah, but Daphne Keane, I thought she was good as X-23 coming back, so it was cool. And man, all those Deadpool variants coming in with that fight scene. That fight scene seemed straight out of a comic, especially when they go into the bus. I thought that was crazy. And it's funny they started that scene with Deadpool, and that scene that comes in that has Dogpool, and the regular Deadpool just uses him as a shield. So yeah, I thought that was very funny. But man, that Deadpool fight scene where Wolverine and Deadpool are taking all the variants. Yeah, like I said, it was definitely straight out of a comic. And then Rob Delaney coming in and everyone's kind of worshiping him. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. I guess that was like it was definitely kind of a throwaway thing to end the fight on, but it was still kind of funny. And with the variants, we had some, I guess, other sort of like cameos in the movie. Like in the credits, they confirmed Blake Lively did the voice of the Lady Pole, and then Mads McConaughey did Cowboy Deadpool, and Nathan Fillion did the voice of the Head Pole, which was the floating like skull head pole or a skull head Deadpool. if I got that right. So yeah, but I didn't recognize his voice. But yeah, I did recognize Blake Lively and definitely Matthew McConaughey as the cowboy Deadpool. And I'm also glad that they weren't on set playing these variants, because I don't know if I could take Matthew McConaughey as a Deadpool. Like, I don't see him as a Deadpool, but doing the voice as a like cowboy Deadpool, I think he's very fitting. So yeah, I liked it. And that might have been Blake Lively playing Lady Bull on set, but I'm also glad that she didn't unmask, because I think that would have been too meta, sort of. Like, that would have been, I think it would have been a little bit too weird. But I don't know, maybe it would have been cool. But yeah, the variant scene with all the Deadpools, I thought was pretty awesome. And there's also like I think it was like a Welsh Deadpool, which I think was kind of like a nod to AFC Wrexham AFC, which is the soccer club that Ryan Reynolds owns in Wales. If you watch Welcome to Wrexham, you know what it's about. And yeah, it's a team he owns with Rob McElhenney. And also Wolverine flipping the mask on. Like, all movie, I never thought of the mask at all. And I think it would have flopped around if it was actually on the suit. Like, it's kind of unbelievable that it was on the suit and it wasn't flopping around. But whatever, I'll take it. I'll take it. That was cool, and that's also made it feel straight out of the comic. And also, it was cool to see Hunter B-15 from the Loki show in here, and it made sense because she's basically running things with the TVA now. So, her coming in and like trying to see what's his name, Mr. Paradox, played by Matthew McFadden. So I think that was his name. He seemed like that name sounds like a comic book character, but I don't really know. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it definitely sounds like a comic book character. But yeah, it's cool to see B-15 in here because she is a mainstay of the TVA. So yeah, it definitely made sense. And then Happy Hogan at the start of the movie talking to Wade Wilson about being in the Avengers. So it was cool to see Jon Favreau in there too. Is he kind of like a staff job like with the Avengers now? That's what it kind of seems like, because he seemed kind of in charge of who would be in the Avengers or something like that. So I don't know. I thought they were gonna play off as a joke, and like Happy was gonna be like I don't really run things around here. I'm more of like a secretary or something like that. And I guess I'm saving the villain for last, and that's Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin in the movie. I thought Emma Corrin did a good job playing Cassandra Nova. She did a good job playing the role, but I just feel like Cassandra Nova as a villain, it wasn't really that good of a villain in this movie. Like, I didn't really care for her that much. She didn't have much depth to her in the movie. But I know they want to focus more on Deadpool and Wolverine, so you kind of gotta maybe sacrifice some, depth from the villain right here. It really goes along with the story being kind of weak. Like, I would say it's the weakest of the 3 Deadpool movies, but I think it's better. At least for me, it's better than 2. The story was definitely better in the second movie, but with what we got here with the cameos and all that in Deadpool and Wolverine, I thought it made for a pretty fun movie, and I would say I enjoyed it more than the second movie. So yeah, I very much enjoyed it, but I understand some of those, especially critics, that might have qualms with the movie. So yeah, so overall, I guess I would give Deadpool and Wolverine an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was good. Definitely good with the cameos and all that. It's just the story is not the strongest. So tell me what you thought about Deadpool and Wolverine, and what was your favorite cameo in the movie. So yeah, tell me down below. I gotta get out of here because my voice is raspy. My voice is dried out. So yeah, let's get out of here. So until next time, I'll see y'all later. Rebel out.